I do not know how to say this without my voice trembling a little, but the truth is already sitting in my chest tonight. My eyes feel heavier than usual, not because of exhaustion, but because of the weight of something I have been holding inside for far too long. If you are watching this right now, I want you to listen to the first few seconds very carefully. They might change the way you see me. They might change the way you see yourself. And they will definitely reveal something I have never admitted anywhere, to anyone. Not publicly, not privately. When I woke up today, I looked in the mirror and saw something in my own reflection that startled me. It was not fear. It was not sadness. It was something deeper. It was the realization that I am ready to say something to you that I once believed I would never say to anyone again. It felt like standing on the edge of a truth that has been waiting for me for years. And you should know this before anything else. I will marry you, but there are 2 rules you must understand. And before I tell you those rules, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt your heart move before your mind could catch up? Have you ever sensed a love that felt like it was written long before you arrived? But wait. Before I continue, before I open my heart completely, I want you to take a breath with me, because what I am about to share is not small. It is not light. It is not something you can hear casually. Stay with me. Stay till the end. You will understand why I am saying this today and why I could not hide it anymore. Now let me gently ask you something. If you are here with me, if you are listening, if you want to walk deeper into this moment with me, then let me whisper this softly. Please like the video if this moment feels real to you. Subscribe if you want to stay close to me. Tell me where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Tell me where you are from as well. And if you want, share this with someone you care about. These things matter more for you than for me. If they help you stay connected with me, then do them. I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes for 2 seconds. Imagine me standing right in front of you, not as the person you see on screens, not as the man the world has created stories about, but as a man who is tired of pretending he does not feel what he feels. A man who has spent years building rockets, cars, companies, futures, and still found the hardest thing to build was a place where his own heart felt safe. As strange as it sounds, you have become the one place where that safety feels possible. You probably do not know how deeply you affect me. Sometimes I read your words and I pause. Sometimes I sense your energy even when you say nothing. And sometimes I wonder if you feel it too. Do you feel a connection before you understand it? Do you sense intentions before you hear them? Have you ever looked at someone and felt your heart already leaning forward, even if your mind was still unsure? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. Something happened today. Something small on the outside, but enormous on the inside. I saw a moment in my day where your presence slipped into my thoughts naturally, without effort. I was walking thinking about work schedules, meetings, deadlines, and then suddenly everything went quiet. It felt like the world muted itself for a second. And in that silence, the first image that appeared was you. Not your face exactly, but the feeling of you. The calmness. The warmth. The honesty. It was like my heart had reached out before I could stop it, and in that moment I asked myself a question I had been avoiding. Why does she matter this much to me? Why her? Why now? Why does her presence reach places inside me that no one else has touched? And the answer was terrifying. Because when a man realizes he has finally found something rare, something precious, something he thought was impossible, he feels both stronger and more fragile at the same time. I felt both today. Tell me something. Has your heart ever chosen someone before you gave it permission? Have you ever felt drawn toward someone quietly, without even meaning to? Sometimes love does not ask for permission. It just happens. And the truth is that is exactly what is happening to me. Every day you become a little more important. Every day, I find myself wanting to protect something I cannot even explain yet. Every day, I feel closer to you in a way that scares me and comforts me at the same time. And that is why I knew I had to talk to you tonight. That is why I had to tell you about the rules. Not rules for control. Not rules to limit you. Rules that protect the love I want to give you. Rules that make sure we do not break what we have barely begun to build. But before I reveal them, I need you to understand the emotion behind them. Because these rules were not created from logic. They were created from fear, from longing, from the desire to not lose something I have waited too long for. Let me ask you another question. What does being cherished mean to you? Does it mean being understood, being chosen, being seen, being held without being asked to explain every piece of yourself? For me, Cherishing someone means protecting their heart even when they do not see it happening. And I want to cherish you in ways you have never experienced before. Sometimes I imagine what life with you would feel like. I imagine mornings where your voice is the first thing I hear. I imagine evenings where you rest your head on my shoulder and tell me the smallest details of your day. I imagine the quiet moments that most people ignore. The gentle gestures, the soft touches, the laughter that rises unconsciously. Those are the moments I crave. Those are the moments my heart is already reaching for. And in those moments, I realized something that made me stop in my tracks. I realized that if I want to marry you, if I want to give you the life I see in my mind, then I need to tell you the truth of my heart right now. I need to make sure you understand what I need from you before we step into something that will change both of us. And maybe this is where the real vulnerability begins. So let me ask you one more question before I open the door completely. Have you ever been afraid of losing something before you even had it? Because that is exactly how I feel about you. And that fear is why these 2 rules exist. They are not about me controlling you. They are about me protecting the connection that could become the most meaningful part of my life. But I want you to stay with me because the rules will only make sense when I explain the story behind them. There is a reason why I waited this long to speak about them. There is a reason why today was the day my heart finally pushed me forward. And there is a reason why your presence has been pulling me in a way I cannot resist anymore. If you are still here, if your heart is still listening, if your eyes have not turned away, then you are already part of this story more than you realize. And I promise you, what comes next will make everything clearer. And maybe you will see why I cannot marry you without these rules. Maybe you will see why they protect us, not separate us. Stay with me for the next part of this journey. What I tell you next will reveal everything that my heart has been carrying all day. When I paused at the end of what I said earlier, I took a moment to breathe because the next part feels even more personal. You have no idea how long my heart has been carrying the weight of these thoughts. Sometimes I wonder if the universe waits for the right moment to push a person into truth. Today felt like that kind of moment. A moment where silence inside me finally broke. A moment where I could no longer pretend I do not feel exactly what I feel for you. Before I tell you the 2 rules, I want you to understand the origin of them. Love is not something I take lightly. I have seen what love can build, and I have seen what love can destroy. I have watched people lose themselves while trying to hold someone else. I have watched people cling to illusions instead of connections. And I have watched how a single misunderstanding can separate hearts that were meant to stay together. So when I talk about marrying you, I am not saying it casually. I am saying it with the seriousness of a man who has already lived enough to know what matters and what never should again. There is something about you that has reached places in me I thought were permanently locked. You awakened a softness I had buried under work, responsibility, expectations, and the sharp edges of my past. I never thought someone would touch the quiet parts of me again. But you did. You did it without even trying. You did it by simply existing. And because of that, my heart changed shape around you. Tell me something. When was the last time you let yourself be completely loved? Not half-loved. Not conditionally loved. Not temporarily loved. But loved in a way that made you feel safe enough to be your real self. I want to know because that is the way I want to love you. And if you have never had that kind of love before, I am here to give it to you. If you have forgotten what it feels like, I am here to remind you. When I think about the future, when I think about the life we could build, I feel something deep in my chest. It is not excitement. It is not fear. It is something else. Something pure. Something like peace mixed with longing. I imagine you sitting with me while the world outside keeps rushing. I imagine your voice calming me in a way no technology or achievement ever could. I imagine the look in your eyes when I tell you something real. And I imagine the way your hand would feel in mine when I finally choose to stop running and just be with you. But to hold that kind of love, both of us have to protect it. And that is where the rules come in. Rules created not from insecurity, but from devotion. Rules shaped by a man who has seen what can break a heart and what can heal one. Rules meant to keep us aligned with the truth of who we are. The first rule came to me today after something I witnessed. I will describe it to you, and maybe you will understand why it struck me so deeply. I saw someone who loved intensely, but not wisely. She kept giving pieces of herself to a man who did not value her. She kept justifying his silence, defending his absence, excusing his disrespect, because she believed that love meant sacrificing herself. And standing there watching that unfold, I felt something inside me tighten. I realized that if I ever let you love me that way, I would fail you. I would break your heart without intending to. I would take pieces of your soul without meaning to. So the first rule is this: if you ever love me, do not lose yourself. Do not shrink to fit into my world. Do not silence your needs to make space for mine. Do not forget your worth in the shadow of my ambitions. I want a woman who stays whole. I want a woman who keeps her own light alive. I want a woman who can love without disappearing. Because I cannot marry someone who gives up her identity to make me feel stronger. That is not love. That is fear pretending to be love. Tell me, have you ever lost yourself in someone? Have you ever loved so deeply that you forgot your own voice? How did it feel to find yourself again? I want you to tell me because your story matters to me. Your past shapes the way you feel love now. And I want to understand that part of you in the deepest way possible. The second rule is even more personal to me. It is built from a wound I once thought would never heal. There was a time I trusted someone with everything inside me. I believed in her completely. But trust can be delicate. It can be sliced open by a single moment of dishonesty. And once trust breaks, even love cannot always repair it. That experience stayed with me longer than I wanted it to. It taught me something important. If love is real, there must be honesty, even when honesty is uncomfortable. So the second rule is simple but powerful. Always tell me the truth, even if it scares you. Even if you think it will hurt me. Even if you think it might change the way I see things. I can handle pain. I can handle disappointment. But I cannot handle lies. I cannot marry someone who hides pieces of herself. I want your truth. I want your flaws. I want your fears. I want your doubts. I want your realness more than I want perfection. Let me ask you something real. Do you believe honesty is an expression of love? Have you ever held back the truth because you feared losing someone? Would you trust me enough to tell me your deepest truth, even if your voice shook while saying it? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how your heart understands honesty. Now I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine us years from now sitting together somewhere quiet. Maybe near a window with soft light coming through. Maybe outside under a sky full of stars. Imagine me turning to you and saying, "Thank you for never losing yourself. Thank you for always being honest with me. Thank you for giving me a love that never tried to hide." And imagine you looking at me with that gentle expression you have, knowing that we built something rare, something unbreakable, simply because we protected what we felt. I told you earlier that today something inside me changed. What changed was clarity. I saw the future I want, and it includes you. I saw the kind of marriage that does not feel like a contract, but a commitment made from soul to soul. And I saw the kind of woman who could walk beside me without losing herself. That woman is you. That is why these rules matter. They are not restrictions. They are promises. Promises that we will not repeat the mistakes of the past. Promises that our love will stay strong because it is built on truth, not fantasy. Tell me, do you believe love can protect people from their own fears? Do you believe two people can grow stronger together instead of shrinking to fit each other? Do you believe that love can be both soft and powerful at the same time? I want you to think about these questions. They matter more than you think. There is something else I want to tell you before I continue. Loving you feels like stepping into sunlight after years of darkness. It feels unfamiliar but warm. It feels risky but right. It feels terrifying but irresistible. It feels like something I cannot walk away from, even if I tried. And that is why I am here tonight, letting the world fall away so I can speak only to you. The next part of what I want to share with you will reveal how these two rules connect to something deeper. Something I have not said aloud in years. Something that will show you just how serious I am about you. If you are still here, then I know your heart is listening. And what I say next will touch that heart in a way I hope you feel, even through the screen. When I look at everything I have already told you, I realize there is still so much left inside my heart that has never been spoken aloud. You deserve to know the full truth, not just the polished pieces I show the world. So let me open the last door, the one I usually keep locked even from myself. If you are still here, still watching, still breathing with me in this moment, then maybe your heart is ready to hear what mine has been trying to say. The two rules I shared earlier are not just rules. They are reflections of the moments that shaped me, both the moments that broke me and the moments that rebuilt me. When I told you not to lose yourself in loving me, it came from a deep place of experience. I have seen what happens when one person becomes the only source of meaning for another. The weight becomes too heavy, the balance disappears, and the love that was once beautiful becomes something painful. I never want that for us. I never want to see you dim your own light just to fit into my shadows. And when I told you about honesty, about speaking truth even when it shakes your voice, I said it because honesty is all I have ever wanted from someone. Not admiration. Not perfection. Not a carefully presented image. I want honesty that feels alive. Honesty that breathes. Honesty that tells me who you really are when the world goes to sleep. If we ever build a life together, it will be built on that. Not fear, not silence, not doubt, only truth. But now I want to take you deeper, because there is something behind these rules that I did not say before. Something that connects both rules together. Something that reveals why I want to marry you, not someday, not maybe, but with intention and clarity. And to understand this, I need to ask you something personal. Have you ever felt like someone entered your life exactly when your soul needed them, even if your mind did not understand it? Have you ever felt drawn to someone before you even knew their story? Have you ever felt seen without being touched? That is what happened with you. At first I tried to ignore it. I tried to treat it like a passing thought, something that would fade with time. But it did not fade. It grew, quietly, gently, and then powerfully. It grew every time I imagined a life where peace was not something I chased, but something I shared with you. It grew every time I thought about a future where love was simple, steady, and safe. And it grew every time I realized that no matter how chaotic my world becomes, you bring calmness into it simply by being yourself. There is a moment that repeats in my mind. It is simple, maybe even ordinary, but it carries something strong. I imagine you walking toward me, not dressed up, not pretending, not performing, just you, real, natural, honest. And I imagine myself looking at you and feeling something inside me settle. I imagine thinking, this is the person I can share everything with. This is the person who will hold my truth without dropping it. This is the person I can love without fear. And that moment stays with me, even though it has not happened in real life yet. But the heart often sees things long before the eyes do. Let me ask you another question. What does commitment mean to you? Not the kind written on paper. Not the kind announced to the world. The quiet commitment. The one made between two souls who choose each other every single day. Do you believe in that kind of bond? Do you believe love can be steady even when life is unpredictable? Tell me what commitment means to you. I want to understand how your heart defines it. Because for me, commitment is not about promises spoken in big moments. It is about presence. It is about choosing to show up even on the days when everything feels heavy. It is about holding the connection gently so it does not break under pressure. And that is the kind of relationship I want with you. Not dramatic, not complicated, not full of confusion. I want something peaceful, honest, and enduring. Sometimes I imagine what our nights would feel like when the world outside is loud and chaotic. I imagine leaning into your presence and suddenly feeling the noise quiet down. I imagine conversations that last until the moon starts to fade. I imagine your laughter mixing with mine. I imagine your hand reaching for mine without thinking. And I imagine my heart finally feeling like it belongs somewhere. That is the life I want to create with you. But I need you to hear something important. Even if I marry you, even if you become the woman I share my future with, I do not want you to live in my shadow. I want you to walk beside me. I want you to be strong. I want you to have your own dreams, your own joys, your own life that lights you up. I want our love to lift you, not limit you. Tell me something. What dream have you kept hidden from the world? What part of you have you protected because you feared no one would understand it? I want to know that part of you. I want to understand it, and I want to support it. Now let me tell you the reason why I spoke about rules at all. The truth is, they are not my rules. They are actually my requests, my hopes, my heart speaking directly to yours. I am not asking you to follow them for my sake. I am asking because if we want something real, something lasting, something unshakable, then these two principles will be the foundation. You staying true to yourself, and you staying honest with me. That is what makes love strong. That is what makes marriage meaningful. Do you believe love still has the power to transform people? Do you believe two broken histories can create one whole future? Do you believe that love chooses us even when we try to run from it? I believe it now. I believe it because of you. And that belief is why I have finally allowed myself to imagine a world where you and I are not just two people sharing a moment, but two people building a life. I want to tell you something that I have never said out loud. I am not afraid of marrying you. I am afraid of losing you. I am afraid that if I do not protect what we feel, the world will try to take it apart. That is why I needed to speak tonight. That is why I needed you to hear the truth from the most vulnerable part of me. Because if I marry you, I want it to be with absolute clarity. And I want you to enter that future with the same clarity. There is one last thing I need to ask. And it might be the most important question yet. Do you feel something for me that you cannot explain? Does your heart react before your mind decides? Do you sense closeness even through a screen? It is strange how energy travels. It is strange how connection forms without logic. And it is beautiful. If you feel something, tell me. Even if it is small, even if it scares you, I want to hear your truth. As I reach this moment with you, I feel something peaceful inside me. It is the rare kind of peace that only arrives when a man stops hiding from his own feelings. Tonight, I stopped hiding. Tonight, I told you everything. Tonight, I allowed myself to imagine a future where your hand is in mine and your heart is safe with me. If you ever choose to be my future wife, if you ever choose to stand with me, then know this. I will love you with honesty. I will love you with respect. I will love you with loyalty. I will love you with intention. And I will love you in a way that keeps your soul alive, not restricted. That is my promise. That is the truth behind everything I said. And now, as we reach the end, I want to leave you with a line that